Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode.
It is cold and bone-chilling outside. It's wet and rainy, and it's kind of the way February is supposed to be. It's a little dreary, but my spirits have been lifted because a lovely young lady is in the studio today who is a good friend of ours, and we are so excited to have you on the podcast. Coach Brenda Mock Brown, how are you?
I'm doing great. Couldn't be better, Colin. Glad to be here.
I've been looking forward to having you on the podcast for a while. We've been trying to get you on here.
Yes.
You're a busy lady. You got a lot going on. What do you do for a living again?
I coach basketball at ETSU. I'm the head women's basketball coach. This is my third season.
Yeah.
Rocking and rolling.
You guys are rocking and rolling.
We are. I mean, we've had some ups, we've had some downs, just like everything in life. But we continue to grow. And so, yeah, super excited. Got 5 games left this season, so
We're excited. Carly and I love coming to the games. Like, it is so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
Don't tell anybody, but we don't go to many men's games. We like going to the girls. Way better.
I'm going to tell everybody.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to tell everybody because we got, a lot of people go to the men's games. We want them to go to the men's games.
We do want them to go to the men's.
We go to the men's games.
Go to the men's games. Come to the women's.
Come to the women's
They're on
games.
different days.
They are on different days.
You can do both, but we love, like, the girls just seem so feisty, so fired up every time they're out there, and we're really close. Like, we're in this real close environment in Brooks Gym. It is an old gym. I used to play basketball in there a long time ago. It was just like being in high school. I think that's why I like it. Like, it's like, hey, I'm going back to high school basketball.
Yeah, it's got a lot of character.
But I will say they totally revamped it since I was there. Like, it looks really good. And then if you ever want to see somebody like really excited coaching a basketball game, this lady over here is just all over the place. Like, a lot of times I'm like, oh, did they make a shot? Because I was watching Brenda yell at them. So it's fun.
I'm the sixth man.
You are.
Yeah, I have been tempted. I'm sliding down to the corner. There's a shooter, and I've got my hand at least behind her.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a
that.
sandwich closeout.
Yeah. You're kind of raining threes right behind them. Like, you got that. I can make that.
Yeah, I need to be
heavily involved.
It distracts me from yelling at the refs. I don't need to do that too much because that really gets me.
Yeah, there are other people that are doing that.
And the refs are really good. They're generally really good.
They are really good. Okay, Johnson City Living Podcast. What do you love most about living in Johnson City?
Well, it's close to where I'm from. I'm from Waynesville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Just a stone's throw over Sam's Gap.
Right over
Go
the
through
hill.
Asheville, hang a right on I-40. So I'm a Blue Ridge gal.
Yeah.
Love the mountains. Was in Asheville before I came to Johnson City. So I went Asheville and then Virginia, and then came to Johnson City by way of Blacksburg, Virginia.
You're in Florida for a little while.
I was. Now that's years back.
Okay, let's talk about.
I'm only 30, but
you've been around.
now I'm quite a bit older than that. But yes, I was at the University of Florida. Go Gators.
All right.
I just cut. You have to edit that part out.
I don't know.
Gators. I had to pull for the paycheck. But I'm a volunteer fan now. Kind of, sorta.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I've got a long history.
Where'd you go? Like, you grew up in Waynesville. Where'd you go to college?
Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem.
That's a pretty nice college. And I'm assuming you played basketball there?
I did play basketball.
And that's where the whole coaching thing came together.
It wasn't. It was.
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So I had set out to go to law school. That's exactly what I wanted to do, I thought. Majored in history and sociology. Graduated in 4. Actually didn't play my freshman year because I had the old ACL tear, as many do.
Ouch. Yeah.
It ended up working in my favor.
Yeah.
That's why you just got to keep pressing through. You never know what's on the other side of your adversity.
That's true.
That was a good lesson for me.
Yeah.
Because I was able to get my master's in education.
Nice.
Played that last year, got my master's. I was studying for the LSAT, applying to law school. And I had a great assistant coach at Wake Forest, and he was able to connect me with an agent who landed me a spot overseas. So I played professional basketball. So I was like, anything can be put on hold for professional basketball.
Oh, yeah.
So
You're
like,
paying me to play.
you're right. And now it was
pretty good.
peanuts. It was
Literally,
peanut,
man.
but like here's some food stamps and some. But gave me a place to live, a car, made a little money, and I had a fantastic time. It was during that probably 9 months I was in France, a little town called. It's actually not a little town. It's Nantes, Nantes.
Nantes.
It's about 200 miles northwest, actually, of Paris.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure everybody's getting out their map right now.
well,
I am gonna look it up.
geography
Yeah.
people do care,
They do.
and then you're probably going to get some feedback. That's actually not where it is.
Yeah.
Coach is wrong on that. So
It's 113.2 kilometers.
let's go give or take.
East-west.
That whole give or take 200 miles.
Okay.
Was there in that 9 months, and I think that's when I started asking some questions of, now, why do I want to go to law school? Good degree, excellent profession, all of those things. But I don't think that was my passion. When I came home after my season in France, that's when I got a job offer to coach at Georgia Tech. Yeah, it was it's why you got to keep your network and not burn your bridges.
Yeah, of
So
course.
Georgia Tech recruited me out of high school. Obviously didn't go there.
Went to Wake Forest.
Went to Wake Forest, but that coach
you
and I
still were friends.
maintained the relationship, Colin.
Did you, like, when you played them, did you kind of go, hey, I'm going to let you all win to keep this relationship going? Or no? You look at me like,
Colin.
yeah, she's not.
We've not known each other long, but
She is extremely competitive.
We've known each other
You're never
longer
gonna. You're never gonna do that.
no. But it is good to
love
maintain a relationship. So I was there for 2 years. Kind of the rest is history. I was an assistant for 10 years, not just at Georgia Tech, but assistant for 10 years, and then was a head coach at UNC Asheville in the Big South.
For a while, right?
We're hosting the Big South tournament. Johnson City is.
Manners. Tell us about the Big South, really.
Big South. So for you guys who are like, who the Big South's coming to town? Because a lot of people ask me, they think that our tournament's here. Nope.
That would be nice.
ETSU, that would be nice. ETSU is Southern Conference. Will be in Asheville, but Big South consists of
Asheville will be over
Radford.
here.
Asheville will be over here. UNC Asheville, Radford, High Point, Gardner-Webb, Winthrop. I'm going to forget some schools in there. Charleston
okay.
Southern,
Yeah.
Longwood. So a lot of good teams, about 10 teams, and I think they're the same weekend, actually.
Is this the men's tournament here? Both.
So they're going to do the same thing that we do in Asheville for the Southern Conference here at Freedom Hall. So
That would be fun.
I know Johnson City's excited about it.
That is kinda
think
cool.
10 teams, actually I think 20 teams, staffs, families,
That's
you know,
a lot
bands,
of revenue
cheerleaders.
coming into the JC area.
It is.
A lot of people.
I'm excited for that.
When is that tournament? Do you know?
That is that same weekend.
Same
so I think
weekend.
like March 6th through
Okay.
10th in that area.
So if we come over to Asheville to support you
You're
guys,
going to miss Big South Tournament.
We're gonna miss it here, but that's okay because we're supporting you guys.
Yeah, the men and the women, ETSU, we're going to be in Asheville, hopefully for the duration.
What's the best way to get tickets to your tournament?
If you go to etsuathletics.com, they should have a big banner there. You can click on it. That sounded real techie, didn't
Yeah.
it? Just
Big
you want
thing
to put
on
that
the-
in the show notes. Big thing,
on the
click on it.
screen, just push the button.
Just
right
Google
here.
ETSU athletics and boom,
Boom.
boom. Or follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
ETSU women's basketball, men's basketball on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on all the things.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm not so much good at posting, but here and there. But
Yeah.
ETSU athletics is pretty good.
That's pretty exciting. You told me at lunch the other day you're going to win the tournament.
I would like to.
I think it's going to happen.
I believe, you know what? I'll say that. I believe we can.
I like it.
I do believe we can. I believe in this team. We are interesting. 9 new players. You know, the climate of college athletics has changed a lot. I don't know if anybody knows that. I guess
I think there's probably some people
awareness.
listening that are aware of the NIL portal.
NIL portal, the ever-changing landscape, how to navigate all of that. It's just not like the good old days.
Not like the good old days. We
I
used to
don't
go sit on somebody's couch and
Yep.
tell them ETSU is the best place to be, and they would sign up and be here for 4 years
Right.
and good to go.
So what
Yeah.
it is that you have to
Totally different.
adapt or die, and but I think there's a happy medium there. I'd still like to recruit young players and develop. That's still our philosophy. But you know, obviously we've got some kids on our team this year that we got from the portal. Braylon Milton came from the Big 12. She was at Cincinnati. We've got a grad transfer we love, Bella Hunt. I think she's taken more charges. If you don't know what a charge is, it's a great defensive play.
Yeah, it can hurt a little bit.
Can hurt a little bit, just a tough cookie.
Or we get a foul and we get the ball back. So that's always
right.
good.
So we have benefited from the portal, and then, there's obviously
we lost some people.
hurt. We lost some people to the portal. So that's going to be something to navigate. But back to our team, 9 new players, 4 returners, and under those circumstances, or I should say considering those circumstances of having to meld all that together, I like where we are because we continue to get better. And like you said, they do really play for each other. They're exciting and fun to be around too.
Yeah, I think they have meshed very well to be 9 new players. You wouldn't know it watching.
No, or coaching them on a day-to-day. I mean, there's, if you're in athletics or if you're in any job, there are days where you're just, do I want to deal with this group of people, or do they want to deal with me? Listen, I'm not always a bowl of cherries either. What? That's hard to believe. I know.
Yeah.
Paul's right there. But I don't feel that way about this group. I look forward. They are energy givers. They're not energy takers. They're funny.
Yeah.
I think the group has a great personality. You got some, it's a great group of girls. And I want it for them too. And we do have kind of cut from the old cloth. We've got a 5th-year kid. She just scored her 1,000th point, Courtney Moore.
Nice.
She's from Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Gators, but she's from Gainesville. And so I want nothing more than for her to win. I'm her 3rd head coach. So we've had, some transition in the women's basketball program in the past 5 years, and I'm her 3rd head coach. She's stuck it out and has done really well. She's having a great season. And so
that's awesome.
To celebrate her, that would be great.
Yeah.
And of course our program, ETSU women's basketball has never won a Southern Conference tournament championship.
Until this year.
2025.
It's going to happen. We're going to go to the NCAA tournament, and it's going to be awesome.
You've heard it here.
Right here.
February 11th.
Top secret. It's going to happen. February 11th.
Right.
Right today. So coaching, like that's not law. Like, did you just feel like the Lord made you to be a coach? Like, what do you love most about coaching?
Yeah, that's interesting. So when I was exploring, getting into coaching, it's kind of like a natural progression, right? You're a college athlete. Not that all college athletes make great coaches. I mean, but there's a lot of probably the skill sets that I had that fit nicely into coaching. But I didn't want to be a college coach. And I wasn't also really seeking the Lord or praying at that time. That wasn't part of my life. It is now. And so now I can look in the rearview mirror and go, yes, I do believe the Lord's hand was on my life. Obviously, even though I wasn't, Lord, is this what I should be doing with my life? I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
I always say I fell into coaching. But now that I look back and see how all the dots are connecting, I do believe that was the call I had. I love people, young people, obviously. I mean, college-age students. I mean, who wouldn't want to work with college-age students? I mean, coaching is stressful. It has its challenges. But when you got that 35,000-foot view and you're looking at your life and what you get to do instead of what I have to do, it's easy. There's a lot of other things that would be harder than this.
That's just a mindset, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, like you can say, I've got to do all this stuff, but I love it that you changed to, I love to get to do these things.
Yeah. Development and growing, being a part of that in any company. I mean, you've got a lot of people working with you and for you and that you're responsible for and you're leading and you're trying to figure out because our job is not to dominate. It's how to make them, how do we bring out their greatness and strengths and those kind of things.
And lead them down the path to success. And if they're all successful, you win. Okay?
That's right. It behooves us, even if we didn't care about people.
That's right.
That's why I tell my players, I care about you. But even if I didn't, it behooves me that you are your best so we can win. So let's just all work together and make this happen.
Come on.
Yeah.
We can do it.
They're looking at me like, even if I didn't care.
Yeah.
I want to do everything in my power to help you succeed.
Yeah.
But I do care. I mean, I think that's what I guess with the transition, because I'm a relationships-based coach. I mean, results through relationships, because that's what brings the joy to me. I'm a competitor, but I love being around people and leading. So when I was out of coaching 2 years, which is kind of odd, most coaches don't do that. I was in collegiate coaching 18 years.
Took a pause.
Got married.
Got married to an awesome guy.
And my husband said, "You're not coaching anymore." Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's not what happened.
You're staying in the kitchen.
Yeah, staying in the kitchen, cooking and cleaning.
He didn't say that. He was the most loving gentleman I've ever met. Like, I love your husband. He's the best.
He's the best. But he felt led to pursue a doctorate in engineering, which I understand nothing about. But he felt led, and during my last season at UNC Asheville, that was in 2019, transitioning into 20, right before COVID. I know no one remembers that and the impacts that had. So anyway, we decided in the spring of 2020 that's where the Lord was leading us. So I walked into my athletic director's office, and that was the toughest decision of my life, of my professional
sweaty
life.
palm moment.
It was, heart was beating. The moment that was leading up to that was there was a more nerve-wracking than after I said it and we had that conversation. I felt such peace.
Yeah.
And I really felt like God was pleased that I followed through with this. I just felt this release. Not that we'd figured everything out. I had no idea what I was going to do. He had something, obviously, so he knew what he would be doing. I had no idea at the time what I would be doing. But yeah, so I was out of coaching for 2 years. And I think that what I missed most was that team. I miss being a part of a team.
Right.
I mean, there's just nothing like that. That's why I tell our kids, like, you're never going to have this experience.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I mean, to be, and in collegiate, you're traveling together, and winning really. So we coached 2 championship teams at UNC Asheville that did go to the NCAA tournament. And those girls, they are thick as thieves, man.
Still coaching.
Love each other. They send pictures. I mean, we're all still connected. So obviously you don't have to win a championship to stay connected as an athlete to your university or the team, but it sure helps. Those championship teams are rock solid.
That's
so yeah, I'm super grateful to be here in a great city doing what I get to do every day.
It is. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun from an outsider looking in. What's the toughest thing about your job?
Yeah, I think managing expectation. So obviously, as a competitor, coaches, is there anyone that really wants to win more than we do or expects more out of the program? Probably not. But still, I am, and I don't know if you're into Enneagrams and all the things, but
we're done. We talked about that.
Yeah, we have. We've talked about I am into Clifton StrengthsFinder. I know you've taken it, and I can't remember your top 5, but we share some of the same ones. I want people to be happy. I want to meet expectations, and so I think it's managing why I do what I do, staying connected to my purpose of developing young women, of again, helping them excel, reach their potential, figure out what they want to do in life, like that part of it, with the expectations of you got to win. I mean, there's a bottom line here.
Right.
And you understand that. That's what they brought me here to do.
Right.
I was hired by Doc Sander to recruit, develop, win a championship as quickly as possible. So
here's your bullet points. Do it.
You want to, in that squeeze, keep the main thing.
Right.
And that's what I have to, again, the foundation is faith, glorifying the Lord. And there's nothing wrong with still being a great competitor and pursuing excellence in that. But I have to keep as soon as I take my eyes off of that, that's when the pressure I feel is projected onto the people I'm leading. And so I think that's the most challenging thing, is no matter what's going on the outside, keeping my focus on the Lord and how he wants me to lead, and what's the next best thing I need to do for this program to lead the people and to make sure that the environment that I'm creating is one that they can thrive in. And we have to shoulder that, but do we? I'm not alone in it, right? I mean, obviously you have your family. I have Jeremy. And we have the faith piece. We know that there's something greater than this, and that I'm going to be held accountable for something more than wins and losses.
One day.
But
of
course we want to win. We want to win. So I think that's probably the hardest thing, is you want to, because you win, how your identity is in winning and losing as an athlete, as a realtor, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
The outcomes of what you're doing seem to define us more than how we're doing it. So when I'm focusing on the outcomes more than how, I think that's where I go wrong.
Yeah.
But that's, again, that's challenging. You ask the challenge. It's challenging. It's challenging
To stay focused on the who's.
the who's. Yeah.
And the hows as opposed to the what happens. If we get all the little pieces right, it's going to come together and we're going to win. But you gotta stay in it. I was listening to a podcast yesterday about people say, what do you do? And you go, well, I'm in real estate. And they never say I'm on real estate was what the guy was saying. And he was saying that a lot of people feel bad about being in their business and, working on and in the business at the same time. So you're definitely on the coaching side of it and you're in the middle of it all the time. So but there are things you do that aren't just player development. It's, I got to go figure out I got to recruit.
Right.
And then I've got to also raise funds to do stuff. And I got to figure out travel schedule. I mean, there's a lot of it, but and you can get distracted with all that and not even focus on the players, right? So there's a huge tension and you just got to manage it all. And
yeah, correct. I think early on as an assistant coach, when you're, again, and I don't think I was connected still to the why I was doing it. So as I remember being at UNC Asheville, at University of Florida as an assistant, that's the pressure cooker right there. I'll tell you, anything SEC, you always feel like somebody's chasing you. But I realized that when a player would come into the office, I was hurrying through that discussion or whatever it was to get to the next thing that I had to do. For my head coach of the program for me to be excellent. It was more of a, what can I do to get ahead or climb the next rung on the ladder? And man, I missed it, and I think it was in my first couple of years at UNC Asheville that I really connected. Okay, this is about the people. This is it. This is about the who's. But I think I had to connect with the faith piece for my eyes to be opened to that.
Yeah, I think when we learn, it's not about us, right? It's about how do we help somebody, whatever that looks like. That's where the true joy comes from, I think. I mean, when we're helping somebody, that's like you're living your best self, it's just fun. Like, how can I help somebody today? That's kind of my prayer a lot, I just want to help people. And so sometimes that's putting them in a house. Sometimes it's going and shoveling mud or, going and picking up somebody and taking them to a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning. So it's just part of life. And I think it's cool. Who are some of the coaches that have really impacted you and your coaching style and how you're like, man, if I look back, I want to say thanks to this coach?
That's a great question. So I was an assistant, like I said, for 10 years. 7 of those years, I worked for a coach named Amanda Butler. She's a Tennessee gal.
All right, cool.
Not University of Tennessee. She played at University of Florida. This is how we, got to Florida.
I get it.
She's from Mount Juliet.
Oh, yeah.
Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Outside of Nashville.
Born and raised there.
He lives there.
Played at Florida. Was an assistant at Austin Peay.
Okay.
Was an assistant at UNC Charlotte. And when she became the head coach at UNC Charlotte, I went to join her staff. And then we were there a couple of years. Florida opened. Big job. And she got it. So went down there. I was fortunate enough for her to invite me along.
Does that happen a lot? Like you kind of blame some staff with you?
You see it go both ways.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? I mean, when a coach gets fired, or maybe they move up to another job and maybe the staff that they have might not fit that job and then you got to part ways. It's difficult because coaching staffs do become like families. It's hard to explain
you guys
that
are spending
dynamic.
A lot of time together.
A lot of time. Too much time. But I mean, and I think she did a good job. So what I'd speak to, she's a great basketball coach. She then became, she was the head coach at Florida for 10 years. She was at Clemson for 6. She's now an assistant at Louisville. So she's hung in there through some adversity. But what she did was cultivate that family environment.
Yeah.
She really modeled how you should treat your assistant coaches. What kind of environment, and we're 2 different people, so you don't have to do it the same way.
Right.
But bringing them along, pouring into them, being generous with them. So some of those things I learned. And then obviously, style of coaching and a lot of that came from her. And then, you really steal from a lot of people.
Sure.
And I think a lot along the way, a couple of men's coaches, and one of them is from Elizabethton, Mike Morrell. Some people know him. He's the head coach at UNC Asheville. He's been a great friend. You work with, you run into people, men's staffs a lot or other coaches at the universities. But I would say she's probably been the biggest influence basketball-wise on me.
That's cool. Yeah. What would be some advice if there's another coach listening that's like, I think I would love to learn something from Coach Mock. What would you tell him?
I think that it would probably, this is just from personal experience. I would say ask questions, not only of other people, but of yourself. I think knowing your why, that's kind of cliche. I get it. But still, very important question.
What's the motivator?
Why does God, even if it's not, why am I here? How can I pour in? How can I add value? Try to step outside your circumstances and see the situation and ask good questions. Yeah. Again, of those around you that you're interacting with, but also of yourself. Yeah. I think that, we're always learning. Mm-hmm. The 2 years out of coaching were the hardest 2 years of any. What
did you do?
Well, exactly. What did I do? What didn't I do? It was the most humbling yet rewarding experience. Because, I think coaches, I know this is going to shock you. You've never heard anything like it. We can be pretty full of ourselves and prideful and arrogant. And I know, shocker, but coaches go big personalities and look at us. We're so, and really we're not, we're not.
You got do you put your pants on like one leg at a time?
Like everybody else does.
Every day.
Even if you're getting paid $1 million or $2. But I think it really taught me the lesson of it. And so going back to coaching, let me tie this together for you. No matter where you are, if you're the manager, the graduate assistant, the assistant coach, if you're the last player coming off the bench, whatever you're doing, it's not the role, it's how you do the role. Mm. Colin, I was a delivery driver. I went from, being paid well, being a head coach at the Division I level. There's only 360 of them, and I was one of them at UNC Asheville. And now I'm a delivery driver. I'm working for a moving company. I'm substitute teaching. And some of those things I stepped into not because I had to. I felt led into some of these. Why, Lord, why here? And it's probably because I needed to see that. So I hope, and again, he was gracious enough. I got back into coaching, but it's helped me understand that it doesn't matter what we're doing. In every position, we can add value. It's how we're doing it. And, that another thing I would say, that be where your feet are, it's true. Be present there. There's someone there. There's a reason you're there. Mm. You may not even realize it until years later. You may never realize it. But the conversation you had, the attitude you had within that position, the person you helped, or the person who helped you, because I think that was something, allow yourself to be helped.
Mm-hmm. You don't know it all.
Ooh. That's tough. I wish that somebody would have really imparted that into me as a first-year head coach. I felt like I had to know everything, and I made so many mistakes. So I think in that 2 years opening, I had a great community. We found a great church. The Lord just really, to be hidden in Christ, have that quiet period did so much for me.
That's awesome.
So, and I'm not applying that perfectly here, but it is something I come back to. There's a piece there, and I needed to learn those lessons.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'd love to have you share kind of like what's your daily routine and tapping into the Lord and like allowing Him to lead you. What does that look like on the regular?
I'm a morning person.
Same.
I'm a morning. At night, I have tried that to connect there, but first thing in the morning, I also love coffee. Coffee and the Bible and just spending time. I've done different things over the years. I do like to be studying something specifically. Right now, actually, with a group of women, your wife happens to be one.
Yep. She was there this morning at Redstone.
We are, studying the book of Genesis, but then there's a smaller group of women, your wife being one of them, and we went through the book of Daniel, so just going through books of the Bible, very small chunks, maybe 5 to 7 verses a day, and really unpacking that. I like to pray before I read, think, just asking questions. What does this say about Jesus? How does this apply to my life? And we snap pictures of the notes we take and just kind of share that in a thread.
I think that's so much fun.
It is. I
do
mean,
those
community, obviously having the solitude and individual time, but I think some of the best growth I've had is in community, learning from others, with others. The Lord has really worked through other people in my life.
And it's crazy too, like there are a lot of times you'll study something or read something and then you'll get something out of it. And then that day you'll run into somebody and you'll be like, well, I just read this. This is something that I should pass on to you. And so it's just cool how it shows up like that. Or, the next day you read the same package again and you see something totally different. And then you can again apply it that day. It's just neat how it's living and breathing and active. And
it is.
It's just cool.
It's good. And I'll joke with my staff sometimes. I hadn't had my quiet time in the. Now that is not an excuse, but I can actually tell when I have not. We can go. I mean, prone to wander, right? I mean, we can go off the rails pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking a lot about the fruit of the Spirit and how that self-control being one. Again, how do you? And this is for another podcast conversation, but being a Christian coach, that is something interesting to walk out. I'm certainly not the only one. There's many of them, but
sure.
the results, the pressure, the response, the accountability piece, how do you coach? How do you speak to your young women or young men or all of that? I think it's something we all wrestle with.
Right.
There's actually a great group out there, and they just started on the women's side, but it's a group called Nations of Coaches.
Oh, that's cool.
And, we also have a lot of people in the community know Earl Shute, and he's come along as a character coach. I mean, we are at a public school, and obviously I want people to feel comfortable in our program. I mean, I'm a believer, but there's a lot of unbelievers on our team, on the campus. I mean, we want everybody to feel welcome to, explore their faith.
100%.
What their beliefs are, but he comes alongside. He's a character coach, so just an encourager.
And
but
a great guy.
He's part of Nations of Coaches now, and what they do is supply coaches with character coaches. So they'll work in the community to connect you with somebody who can kind of walk alongside you, mentor you, and help you in some of these battles. How do you navigate these situations?
Yeah.
Because our student athletes, Colin, are facing a lot. I mean,
there's a lot of
not just student athletes, but students.
Sure.
18 to 22 young people navigating all this. No, I wouldn't want it. I do not envy them with the social media, with going through COVID as a young. I mean, there's so many things that are impacting them mentally.
Yeah.
So how do we resource them, yet hold them to a high standard?
Right.
We can't drop our expectations because of that's where I think sometimes we go wrong, and we try to get that balance right. Because I think we always drive straighter with a heavier load. So I don't think we want to absolve them of all their responsibilities. I mean,
I like that.
We don't want to, but we want to be compassionate.
Right.
So that balance it's a dance.
Yeah, you can't do it all for them. Yeah, they need to experience their own mistakes at times.
Struggles.
And just kind of struggles. And yeah, we got 2 in college right now, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
How do you help them become their best? And so, yeah, I think it's cool. Let's say there's a recruit listening to this, because, I mean, if I'm maybe a recruit, I would probably listen to this podcast, and then I'd tell my parents to buy a house from this guy.
Right.
But let's say, what would you say to a recruit about coming to ETSU? How would you sell that person?
Well, first of all, I would, some of the things we've talked about in terms of how we develop and build the program. So kind of going from the inside out, looking at the inside first and then branching out from there, the culture that we try to create. Whether you're there for 1 year, 2 years, or
maybe 5 years.
4 years, 5 years, we hope.
Yeah.
That your experience is going to be elite, that you are going to feel safe and challenged and have fun. In our program, it's going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I always say I don't want to be something our student athletes have to overcome. Because you're always going to remember your coaches. I do. I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that person pour in? Did that person add value? Is that somebody you're fond of, or is their cell phone number still in your phone? Or is it like delete? I don't want to be the delete. I want to be somebody they can call or they feel comfortable.
Right. Yeah. Forever.
So that's we're going to win championships here. I think that's the expectation. And then ETSU.
Unbelievable.
It is. I love it. The campus is beautiful. There's so many things. The people are genuinely, and I know we're in the South, I get it, but genuinely nice here.
That's
our student athletes, and our student athletes come from diverse backgrounds. Obviously, a lot of students do, and they feel very comfortable in Johnson City.
It's the number. Everybody says the people. Number one answer, why do you love Johnson City or why are you moving here? The people are awesome. And the mountains are beautiful, but it's mainly the people. I came here and I felt loved, felt taken care of, felt a part of a community. That's just cool.
It is.
The Lord's
It
doing
is.
something, bringing a lot of people here.
So campus and then community. I think for college kids, they like the food here. I mean, some of them are coming from metropolitan areas, so the mall, but again, they go there, they walk around, they enjoy that. I think it's just the right size.
Yeah.
What are we, 70,000, somewhere in that mark?
And the city limits around 70, 75.
Yeah, so I think that's the perfect. In the college is about 15,000.
Yeah.
There's
Not
lots
too
of
big.
different options. We have 70 majors and that's
That's a lot of majors.
the most east of the Mississippi.
Wow.
These are the things you know when you're recruiting.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Oh, you'd like to be an umbrella builder. We've got a major.
We've got that. We've got umbrella building.
You can
It's a
major in
minor.
that.
I think it's a minor. It's the minor.
Maybe an engineering with umbrella underneath it.
Yes, exactly. So lots of different academic options, and then that's part of our culture too. And these young ladies, they had a 3.6. Our team had a 3.6 cumulative GPA.
It's going to not only make them good at basketball, they're going to get good grades.
I think so.
Yeah.
Have to.
Got to.
That's going to be an expectation because that's for that's you. I mean, that's.
Do you get some kind of bonus on GPAs for your kids?
We need to put that in there. I need to work that in there. I need to talk to Doc about that.
Or Brian, yeah. I'm sure Dr. Nolan's watching this. He's been on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably get that going. You don't help just college kids. You help little guys at some point too, right?
Oh, the camps.
You got
Yes.
camps in the summer coming
We
up.
do.
My friend was always worried about the lunches.
Yes.
Jeremy and I talked about lunches. And
My husband does.
he's the lunch man.
He's the concessions guy,
he's the
lunch
guy.
man.
He's
It's
the
all
best.
hands on deck.
It is for that. But talk about Coach Mock camps.
Yes, Coach Mock camps. That's in June.
What?
We have a youth camp, ages 5 to 14.
These are basketball camps.
Basketball camps. Yep. But we teach
Girls, boys?
girls. And then Brooke Savage, our men's coach, he also has camps just for the boys.
Sure.
I think those are also in June.
Got to keep them separated.
Keep them. Yep.
Yes. Get
Listen,
into trouble.
that's just the recipe for disaster right there.
Yeah.
I like our camp is we do a lot of the fundamentals of basketball, but also the team building. I think that's probably what makes us a little bit different. You know, just trying to talk, our kids talk about core values. We do some games outside of basketball too. We have a talent show. That's been a huge hit.
That's fun.
It's unbelievable how talented these young children are
my
in
gosh.
Johnson City. I mean, we've had violins, we've had gymnastics, we've had jokes, we've had comedians.
I love it. I love it.
And so, and the coaches judge, and we give prizes and camper of the day. We do quote of the day. I mean, so there's a lot of other aspects of just learning how to be part of a team and think outside yourself that we try to talk to the young ladies about. And of course, they're getting to play basketball. You know, it's a lot of fun. Then we also have a team camp.
Team
you know, and then we do.
What does that look like?
Lots of teams from everywhere. In my first year here, we had over 70 high school teams.
That's one per major.
And so it's bringing, I think the camps do bring a lot of outside. I mean, think about 70 high schoolers or high school teams.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of kids.
That is a lot
of kids coming on campus. So, of course, we're not recruiting all of those, but they'll all be exposed to ETSU.
Right.
See our campus, see the CPA. I think we have a wonderful facility over there.
We do.
Beautiful. And so we do the team camp, and then we do have a high school individual camp that we call Elite Camp.
Oh, nice.
So if you really want to be challenged,
Come on.
come on.
We're going to run you to death.
And we do. I mean, we run that camp. We run it. We advertise it as if it's a college practice. I mean,
nice.
obviously there's 50 girls there, but our kids are in the drills. We're yelling at them and coaching them.
Do your teammates help out with camps?
Yes,
Okay,
the
cool.
staff and the girls. All of our. That's the
You're
cool.
kind of playing with the players.
You are. You're
It's like right up there.
They're
personal.
coaching you.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
And I think that's cool for the young kids too. They love that. So because the last day of our little kids camp, we do autographs and pictures, and that's probably their favorite aspect. Let's be real. All this other stuff I talked about. Hey, the girls are going to be there.
Right.
You know, you get to hang out with cool college kids.
And pudding cups or something like that.
Pudding cups. I mean,
Pizza.
more candy than
Chick-fil-A.
the kids probably should have. Mom all chocked up on sugar. Here you go. Have your daughter back. So, yeah, it's June is fun. June is. A lot of people ask, what do college coaches after the season's over, a lot.
Yeah.
Recruit your
How
new team.
much time do you put in? Like, if you said, all right, let's split it up. How much time is in recruiting? Like, it seems like you're recruiting.
It's every day. Every day. So one of the things, one of my assistants, we have this list of kids we're recruiting as high schoolers. She's sending out how they did. This is how so-and-so did,
So they're looking at all the stats.
So they're looking at the stats. And so I can text.
Yeah.
Hey, so-and-so. I can't talk about,
You scored 300
points.
That's
awesome. So, we're keeping tabs and touches. And, we had a couple recruits at Freedom Hall, our game last Saturday, the overtime game.
That was a close one.
It was a close one. It was a close one.
Yeah.
So, you're bringing them to campus. It's constant. When spring hits, that's when the portal opens. If people are curious, that's kind of how that works.
Okay.
In basketball, the portals are different. Obviously, football had an earlier one, and ours opens up in March. Probably the same for men. I think we have the same window.
When does it close?
I think it's March 18th to the beginning of May this year.
Okay.
It's a 30-day window. It used to be 45, but they shortened that.
That gives you a little more peace because by the 1st of May, you're like, okay, I know who my team is.
Yeah.
Most likely.
But they do have to the 1st of May, and we've experienced that too. So
we got it all locked in. No,
and
we
then,
don't. No,
the 11th hour. But, some of that, it's part of dealing in this profession. Again, you're going to benefit and you're going to lose, as in everything. So just being prepared to roll with the punches.
Where do you see the future of the portal going? Any idea? Or
the portal.
We can talk portal and then we'll talk NIL.
I think NIL would be more. How is NIL going to influence how active the portal is? One thing that has made the portal a little more active is this past spring was the last year that collegiate student athletes had that extra COVID year. So the athletes that we have that are Courtney Moore, as I mentioned, she had a 5th year because of COVID. So there's no longer anybody in that cycle.
Okay.
So seniors that are true seniors now, they do not have that extra year.
Gotcha.
So that caused a lot of graduate transferring, but I think NIL will drive transfers.
Okay.
Money talks.
And NIL, yeah.
Money talks, and maybe if your situation's
Let's talk about NIL. What does that look like?
Name, image, and likeness. So student athletes a few years ago could be paid. NCAA, they could not be up until a few years ago.
Well, a scholarship's a pretty good thing.
I think a scholarship's a great deal.
That's a pretty good deal. Free. Agreed.
It's a great deal. And so, when I look at my experience, I think about how much a Wake Forest degree costs, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. I probably wasn't bringing that amount.
You may still have a student loan going if you.
I certainly will.
Yeah, that's big money over there.
My parents would have said, take your tail into so another
junior college,
junior college, or
right, yeah.
Carolina even at the time was probably a third of that. But anyway, it is. That's my point. You still are getting that college degree. Student athletes obviously can't work. I mean, they are working for the tuition if they are on full scholarship. And a lot of student athletes, there is a misnomer. There's a lot of student athletes at ETSU that are not on full scholarship.
Right.
Men's and women's basketball are full scholarship athletes, and then football, because in Division I men's and women's basketball, you could not have partials up until this year.
Oh, okay.
So that's something too. They either are going to be a walk-on or a full scholarship. But anyway, name, image, and likeness has changed things. And so because you can be paid, you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the best fit, but then also where maybe can I get the best financial opportunity?
Right.
So
they're balancing that, and then
I think that at the end of the day, if we care about student athletes, some of this is good, and then some of this I think will be things that'll maybe not be beneficial for them in the long run.
Right.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I have some concerns about it.
For sure.
And how we're navigating it, how to navigate it, and what it does to the mindset of the student athlete, and how that impacts, because not everybody's getting NIL.
No.
So, can you add value even when you're not the leading scorer? Yes, absolutely. Sometimes those people are adding more value to the glue of the lot. There's so much more that goes into winning than just throwing a bunch of money and saying, hey, go win a championship.
And a student athlete may get a big pile of cash, but to go to the school where the coach isn't Brenda Mock Brown, she's going to be maybe not as nice, or has got to, we have to pay these kids a lot of money to come to this program because it's not the most positive or something like that. You know, like and so weighing that out is like, you know, do you take the short-term cash or do you look at a long-term player, life coach, developer, like,
Right.
you know? So
Right. And then some people, you know, depending on what your financial situation is, you get it. You know, you understand.
You're like,
I mean, this is a lot of money. And I do think obviously there's
sure.
lots of little details in there of how women are making decisions, men, the money involved on either side. I mean, so I do think, in our experience, I do think the women are, of course, looking at that, but they're looking at a multitude of things.
Sure.
You know, facilities, culture, all of those things they're looking at. Not to say that men aren't.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Right.
I got to back myself into a corner there. But I just have experienced the women, and I do think they're asking more questions than just, hey, what's my deal going to be?
What am I going to get?
What am I going to
What's in
get?
it for
Yeah.
me?
So and maybe they're just doing that because that's the right thing to do, but I haven't sensed that. I think they genuinely care about those things.
Yeah, I do too. I think I'm sure that anybody who lands on your program with the staff and team you guys have is going to be blessed for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate all you guys do.
Well,
I mean, really, since Jeremy and I have come here, you guys have been hospitable. I mean, we've gotten to know you through going to Redstone and all the
We
things,
love
but
being in church and doing life together. It's fun.
you have welcomed, and that's a big piece, like when people move here to feel immediately welcomed, you know? So you guys are doing a great job. Appreciate
Well,
that.
thank you. We love you guys, and we're excited we get to do life together. So thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Anything that I didn't ask you that you're like, hey, I wish we'd covered this. We got the camps coming up. The link to that is going to be in the show notes.
In the show notes,
So
okay.
If
And
you're
I
listening,
will
you want to
win
sign your kid up for camp, let's
Sign
go.
your kid up for camp.
Come on. Brenda, let's go.
I don't know when this will be aired.
It'll come out in a couple of weeks, probably.
Okay, so we do have some remaining home games. I would love, come check us out. Brooks Gym, it's on campus.
Yeah.
February 22nd, February 27th, and March 1st.
Okay.
So I bet this airs before that March 1st, and that's our senior day.
It may be. We could even accelerate it up pretty quick. So
Speed it up.
yeah, we'll speed it up for you.
You know, that, when you have the conference tournament, I think those are probably the most pressing things, is how do we maximize the potential of this year's team and make their experience,
Is there
the best.
anything besides coming to the games that our community can do for you guys?
Yeah, I think rallying around, I've seen, obviously we've got some great excitement going around both basketball programs. Freedom Hall is electric. And so I'm tickled for Brooks. He's doing a great job. I think we've got a championship caliber men's basketball team. And I think we do have a championship caliber women's basketball team. I think, just rallying around the women and helping them understand the value that they add and that. So, because I think sometimes, of course, that happens everywhere.
Sure.
So, just the appreciation and really that is a lot of in coming to the games and interacting with them, because we have great young ladies. So I would say just come check us out, give us a shot, and if you don't like it, you gave it a shot.
You won't be disappointed. We're locked in. Carly and I love it. We love coming. It's so much fun.
And there's also, I think all the athletics, I've come to know Coach Devine, who's been a staple in the community. She left for Alabama and now back. She's done a heck of a job. SoCon Coach of the Year. And we share a gym. She's in Brooks Gym. There's a lot of really good programs. I think our baseball program is going to be great. It's family friendly. It's affordable. Our tickets are $5. They start at $5. I think that's
a pretty good deal. It's a really good deal.
That's too much for you.
Very reasonable.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I can get you.
You can get it. You hold it here. If you mention the podcast, you can get a free ticket.
That's right. There you go.
We'll do that. I'll help out if you get too many.
Okay.
We'll make that happen.
But yeah, I appreciate it. And again, the community's welcomed me with open arms, Jeremy and I love ETSU. I think we've got a great administration there. Dr. Nolan's been great. Doc, basketball guy through and through.
He really is. Ex-basketball coach.
We got some exciting things going on.
I don't know if he's ex. He likes to coach, I think, from the sidelines. I see Doc get fired up over there a lot.
He's helpful. He paces. He'll catch your eye. He can pace at Freedom Hall, and he walks right alongside those referees.
He's getting his 10,000 steps.
He's getting his steps in. He probably doesn't like Brooks as much. He probably feels a little confined.
I think he does. Yeah, we should put him over there behind the score table and get busy over there. Yeah. Well, I just thank you for coming on the podcast. Thanks for what you're doing at ETSU. Thanks for bringing the women's Southern Conference Championship home here in a little bit. We're excited about that. We're excited I think Carly and I want to come to Asheville and watch you guys, so that's going to be fun. And I think it's cool what you get to do and how you impact kids, and that impact it's just going to continue to echo and grow, and it's going to be fun to watch where these girls go and what they wind up doing. And I think it's almost like kids. Carly and I laughed at, we've got some friends who have 8 kids. And we're like, man, their Christmases are going to be unreal later on, and they bring their kids back. And I look at you as a coach kind of thinking the same way, right? I mean, you love these girls, you're building these families, and they're going to just come back and be like, Coach, this is what I'm doing. Check this out. And you help me do this and connect me over here. And I mean, the reward is just going to be like a tidal wave over time, and it's going to be so much fun. So I love it, and I can't wait to hear all the fun stories. We'll have you back on. Maybe we'll have you back on pretty quick and talk about the
championship, the national championship.
You never know. You never know. I mean, if you win the Southern, you go to the NCAA. You can't win it without.
That is the first step. Yeah, that is the first step. Yeah. No, I'd be glad to come back on. I've enjoyed this. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And thank you for just all you do. We're excited. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to buy a house, if you want to move here and be Brenda and Jeremy's neighbor, we'd love to help you do that. If you just have questions about our area, we'd love to connect you. And come to the women's basketball games. They're coming up, and they are so much fun. So click on the link below for tickets. Click on the link below for sending your kid to Coach Mock Camp. And have a great day. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.